They say sharks live in oceans. Mine lived in a ball pit. That sentence keeps me awake at night. It all started with a stupid dare. My best friend Jake and I thought we were fearless. We'd heard the rumors. Something alive was hiding in the ball pit of an abandoned fun center. We wanted to see it for ourselves. We didn't believe the shark stories, not really. They sounded like urban legends kids made up to scare each other. But every time someone went in, they never came out. Jake joked it was just hobos or rats. I laughed with him, but deep down, I wasn't so sure. I couldn't stop thinking about it. One freezing night, we snuck in. The parking lot was cracked and overgrown. The building looked like it was sagging under the weight of its own secrets. Windows were shattered. Doors creaked on rusted hinges. Inside, the air was cold and stale, thick with mold and something else, something that smelled like old blood. Our flashlights barely worked. Their beams vanished into the dark like it was swallowing the light. Every step echoed too loud. We passed broken rides, toppled arcade machines, and then finally, we saw it. The ball pit. Huge. Still full of plastic balls, faded from time and dust. But something was off. The pit wasn't silent. It was breathing, like the balls shifted ever so slightly, in and out. I thought it was my imagination until Jake grabbed my arm, whispering, "Do you see that?" And I did. Deep beneath the surface, a shadow slithered. Too big, too smooth, like it had fins. I leaned in closer, trying to get a better look. My heart was pounding so loud I thought the thing could hear it. The shadow moved again, slow and deliberate. It was circling, not swimming, stalking. I swear, in that moment, the pit exhaled. The smell hit us like a wave. Rot, salt, and rusted metal. We turned to run, but it was too late. The plastic balls exploded behind us as something launched out. A blur of gray and teeth. We didn't look back. We just ran, crashing into old rides, screaming through the halls. But even after we escaped, I still hear it. Slithering, breathing, waiting. We didn't stop running until we reached the street. My lungs burned, my legs ached, but I didn't care. We collapsed onto the sidewalk, gasping, staring at the building like it might come alive and chase us. Jake was pale. He didn't speak. I couldn't stop shaking. What the hell did we just see? We never told anyone. Who would believe us? A shark in a ball pit sounds like a bad dream. But the silence between us said everything. We knew what we saw, and it wasn't human or natural. That thing had eyes. I saw them. Not like a fish, like a predator that understood we were prey. For weeks, I tried to forget. I avoided the place. But Jake changed. He'd stare into space for hours. He stopped sleeping. One night, I caught him drawing something over and over. Circles, teeth, a dark shape in a pit. When I asked him, he looked at me and whispered, "It followed me home." I laughed nervously, but Jake wasn't joking. He kept hearing things in his house. Plastic shifting, wet slaps on tile floors. Once, he swore the bathtub was full of colored balls. But when he blinked, it was just water. He begged me to believe him. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. A week later, his mom called me, sobbing. Jake was missing. His window was open, curtains torn, floor wet. No signs of a break-in, no footprints. Just one thing left behind. A single red plastic ball sitting perfectly in the center of his bed. I stared at it for hours. I didn't touch it. I tried convincing myself he ran away. Maybe he snapped. But that didn't explain the smell. That same salt and blood stench that had filled the fun center. It was in his room. Faint, but real. I checked the streets, parks, hospitals. No Jake. No trail. Just silence. The kind that screams at you. That night, I had a dream. I was back at the ball pit. It was endless, deeper than it should be. I heard Jake's voice, calling from beneath the surface. I reached in and felt teeth. Sharp, warm, and real. I woke up screaming, hand bleeding. There were plastic balls on my bedroom floor. I didn't leave my house for days. I kept all the lights on, covered the drains, even duct taped my closet shut. Every creak in the walls made my skin crawl. I barely slept. But when I did, I kept dreaming about it. Not just the shark, about Jake, sinking into the pit, eyes open, screaming soundlessly. I knew it wanted me next. That's how it felt. Like whatever lived in that pit had latched onto my scent. I couldn't explain how I knew, but it was in my bones. I started finding more balls around my house. Blue, yellow, green, always one at a time. Always somewhere I knew I hadn't left anything. I tried throwing them away. burning them. I even buried one in the woods. It still came back. One morning I woke up, and they were all around my bed, dozens of them, like a silent message. A circle, a trap. I lost it. I screamed, smashed them with a bat. But they didn't break. They never break. I started recording everything. My camera would glitch at night. Once, I caught a frame. Just a blur, low to the ground, long and gray, slipping past my door. No sound, no footsteps, just that slither. That wet, dragging sound, like something slick and hungry moving closer inch by inch. I called the police. They found nothing. No signs of forced entry. They suggested I see someone. Stress can cause hallucinations, they said. But hallucinations don't leave puddles of salt water on your floor. They don't rearrange your furniture. They don't whisper your name when the lights go out. One night, I got desperate. I went back to the amusement center alone. I thought maybe if I gave it what it wanted, it would leave me alone. I wore a GoPro, brought a crowbar, a flashlight, and the red ball I found on Jake's bed. The parking lot was colder than before. The building darker. I stood in front of the ball pit, heart racing, legs trembling. The air was thick, heavier, like being underwater. I whispered Jake's name. No answer. Then I heard it. The faint sound of plastic shifting. Then breath. Not mine. Not human. Deep, wet, animal breath, rising from below the balls. The surface of the pit began to ripple. Slowly, like something underneath was stretching, waking up. I dropped the red ball in. It disappeared instantly, sucked into the mass of plastic like a stone into water. And that's when the balls began to part, as if something was rising from the center. I took a step back. My flashlight flickered, then died. Total darkness. The air shifted. Heavy, wet. And then I saw it, just for a second. A dorsal fin, slick and black, slicing through the colored balls like a knife. It shouldn't have fit, but it did. That pit was deeper than any floor should allow. Something moved toward me. Fast. I turned and ran, but the floor was slippery. My feet slid on something thick, like slime. I didn't stop. I bolted through the hallway, heart exploding in my chest. I could hear it now. Not footsteps, splashes, like wet flesh slapping the tile right behind me. I crashed through the exit doors and didn't stop running until I reached the gas station 2 miles away. They thought I was on drugs. Maybe I looked like I was. I was soaked, shaking, my hands scratched and bleeding. I begged the clerk to call someone, anyone. He refused to look at me. The footage from my GoPro glitched. Most of it was static. But there were frames, single frames, where you could see shapes. Teeth. Something long and wide moving just beneath the balls. One frame showed something worse. Jake. His face, barely visible, eyes open, skin stretched tight. That night, I didn't go home. I stayed in my car, parked under a flickering streetlight. Every sound made me jump. At 3:11 a.m., I heard tapping. I looked at the passenger window. A single red ball sat on the seat beside me. I hadn't unlocked the doors. I hadn't brought it in. It was just there. I screamed, threw it out the window. But 5 minutes later, it was back. No sound, no movement, just there, waiting. I left the car and walked until morning. My legs numb, my mind blank. I realized it wasn't just a creature. It was a curse. Once you saw it, it saw you back. And it never forgets. I tried to leave town. I packed everything, drove for hours without stopping. But no matter where I went, it followed. Motel rooms felt colder. Sinks filled with salt water overnight. I stopped sleeping altogether. My reflection in mirrors began to blur, like something else was looking back at me. At one point, I checked into a remote cabin. No phone signal, no neighbors, just trees and silence. I thought I was safe. But that first night, I heard it again, the sound of shifting plastic. A soft splash. I opened the closet and found a pile of plastic balls, glistening like they'd just been washed. I ran into the woods, barefoot, screaming. I didn't care where I went. I just needed distance. Branches tore my skin, roots tripped me. But I didn't stop, until I saw it. A kiddie slide, in the middle of nowhere. And at its base, a ball pit. Fresh, clean, rippling slightly, like something was waiting. I fell to my knees. It didn't make sense. None of it did. This thing, it wasn't bound to a place. It was a parasite. It latched onto minds. It fed on fear. It grew stronger the more I remembered it. And even as I tried to forget, I kept thinking about Jake, his voice calling from beneath. I started seeing him in reflections. Behind me, in windows, just a glimpse. Pale skin, dark eyes, lips trembling like he was trying to scream but couldn't. I smashed every mirror I owned. Still didn't help. I heard him whisper my name at night. Not from the walls, from under the bed. One night, I lifted the sheets. Nothing. But when I dropped my flashlight, it rolled beneath the bed and disappeared, like it fell into a void. I leaned down. Slowly. I swear, for a second, I saw the colored balls under there. Floating. Gently. And right in the middle, a fin. I moved out the next day. But it didn't matter. I knew the truth now. It wasn't a shark. It was something older. Something ancient that found its perfect hiding place in our world, behind joy, behind color, behind childhood. And now that I'd seen it, I was part of it. Forever. I stopped talking to people. What was the point? No one believed me. They smiled, nodded, assumed I was grieving. They didn't see the way shadows moved around me. They didn't wake up with teeth marks in the carpet or hear soft splashes behind closed doors. They didn't hear Jake crying. I tried therapy. One session. I told the doctor everything. He laughed, thought it was a metaphor for trauma. I nodded along, until I noticed the red ball on his desk. Toy for my kids, he said. I asked how many he had. He paused. Wait, I thought I had two. His smile cracked. That's when I knew. It wasn't just feeding off me anymore. It was spreading, jumping, infecting others through stories, through images, maybe even through words. I left the office and never went back. That night, I burned every photo I had of the fun center, but its outline stayed in my mind. I moved constantly, never slept in the same bed twice. Sometimes I'd wake up in different clothes, with sand on my feet, or bruises shaped like fingers I didn't recognize. The worst was the night I found a note on my mirror, written in crayon. It's your turn to dive. I live alone. The line between sleep and waking began to vanish. I'd close my eyes for a second and find myself back at the pit. Always deeper, always darker. Jake was there, but different. His mouth was open too wide. No voice, just rows of teeth. And in the silence, I'd hear it breathing. So close. I once tried jumping into a lake, hoping water would drown it out. But the water was warm, too warm. And halfway through the dive, I felt plastic beneath me. Thousands of small, round objects brushing my skin. I screamed and climbed out. My body was dry. My clothes untouched. But my mind. Now I don't trust anything soft. No bean bags. No plastic toys. I flinch at birthday parties. Chuck E. Cheese commercials give me nausea. It's always there, just under the surface, waiting, smiling with borrowed teeth. And every time someone says, it's just a story, I feel it listening. I started recording my thoughts, hoping that speaking aloud would keep me tethered to reality. But even my voice sounds different now, distorted, echoed, like it's bouncing off plastic walls. Sometimes, when I play the recordings back, there's another voice layered under mine, gurgling, hungry. I bought a dog, thought maybe it would protect me, keep me grounded. She was brave, barked at corners I tried to ignore. One night, I found her frozen, tail between her legs, staring at the bathtub. Water was off, but inside, a single ball floated. She whimpered and never walked again. I buried her near the woods. I didn't cry. I couldn't. Tears felt too close to surrender. That night, I dreamed she was still alive, but made of plastic. Her eyes hollow, mouth full of multicolored spheres. She barked once. They spilled out like blood. I woke up gagging on something round and red. I tried to warn people, posted online, told them not to go near that place. Most laughed. One guy messaged me, said he went there for a thrill. He recorded the pit, sent me a clip. 5 seconds in, the camera dropped. Last frame showed his face, distorted, eyes bulging, surrounded by colored balls. Police said he overdosed. But the footage, it wasn't drugs. It was hunger, like something devoured him from the inside out. His body was found bloated, skin stretched like rubber. Autopsy said unknown pressure trauma. His hands were clenched around plastic spheres, fused to his fingers. I'm running out of time. I can feel it pulling at my mind. My memories flicker like bad film. Faces blur, colors shift. I forget my name sometimes, but I never forget the sound. The slosh of bodies moving through things that aren't water. It echoes in my chest, like a second heartbeat. And last night, I woke up with my mouth full. Not choking, chewing. I spit it out onto the floor. For plastic balls. Blue, green, yellow, and one deep black. I didn't scream. I just stared. And somewhere in the house, I swear, I heard Jake laughing. Quiet, gentle, right behind the closet door. I'm writing this from a motel I don't remember checking into. The mirror is covered. I won't look. The TV turns on by itself, showing static that flickers into shapes. Sometimes, for a moment, I see the pit. I hear the balls shifting. Something moves across the screen like it knows I'm watching. I haven't eaten in days, but I'm never hungry. My mouth always tastes like chlorine and plastic. My fingertips are wrinkled, soaked, like I've been in water too long. But there's no water here, just that same stale air, and the faint, salty smell that always comes before it arrives. I keep the lights on, but they flicker more often now. The shadows in the corners are deeper. Sometimes they pulse, like they're breathing. I don't go near them anymore. Last time I did, my hand disappeared for a full 5 seconds. When it came back, it was cold and dripping with red dye. I hear Jake more often now. He sings, a soft tune from our childhood, over and over. His voice sounds underwater, distant, but he's closer than ever. He calls my name gently, like a lullaby, and I almost answer. I want to. I think that's how it gets you. Not by force, by memory, by love. I haven't looked under the bed in 3 nights. I know what's down there. I saw it once. A tunnel, not dirt, not concrete, just colors. Endless, pulsing, shifting colors. A whirlpool made of childhood. A void dressed as a toy. It whispers promises, peace, rest, reunion. All I have to do is slide in. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe that's the only way to make it stop. The fear, the noise, the bleeding colors in my vision. It wants me back in the pit, where it all started. I keep hearing the same sentence in my dreams. Once you dive, you never surface alone. I don't know what it means. Not yet. If you find this, and any of this feels familiar, the smell, the dreams, the soft clacking of plastic in the dark, please tell me I'm not the only one. Maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe it's real. Maybe it's already inside you too. If you've heard something like this, leave a comment. I need to know I'm not alone.